This is the story of the tunnel of the new dawn. Our story begins with Martin, who at 62 years old, still lives in the city center. He had always been afraid of the dark. As a kid, he couldn't sleep without the TV or a nightlight. And now every room in his apartment was lit up the moment he got home from work. It was 2:45 in the afternoon when Martin came home from work. His apartment was in total darkness. His shaky hand struggled with the key. Inside, he locked the door and lit every room. Hallway, bedroom, kitchen, bathroom. Every corner bathed in light. Only the balcony remained dark. So Martin stepped out, cracked open a beer, and stared at the horizon. Memories of his childhood rushed back. He remembered a time when he and his friends would roam the streets of his village, the new dawn. Ah, the new dawn. Back when he was just Martin, not old man Martin. Back when life was sweet and the future stretched before him like the open road. He was 14 years old, and his whole life was ahead of him. One spring break, after playing video games all day, Martin and his two best friends, Jovan and Marco, decided to go fishing. They sat by the murky green pond, pulled out their improvised fishing rods, and waited patiently for a bite. Frogs hopped around them, croaking loudly. Time passed slowly, and soon the sky darkened with clouds. Thunder rumbled in the distance, and the boys began to worry. "Let's play hide-and-seek," Jovan shouted. "Whoever I tag first will be the winner." Martin started counting, closed his eyes and waited. When he opened them, the world seemed darker. The wind rustled through the trees, and then he heard a voice. "Martin," it called out, and it seemed to come from the slope. The slope where the tunnel lay, the forbidden tunnel that everyone in town feared. Before Martin could react, Jovan and Marco burst out from their hiding spot, screaming at the top of their lungs. Martin collapsed on the ground, his heart pounding in his chest. He looked back at the tunnel, his eyes wide with terror. The wind picked up, and he could have sworn he heard a low growl coming from its depths. That night, he couldn't sleep. The image of the tunnel and the sound of the wind kept him awake. He dreamed that he was wandering through the tunnel, searching for an exit, but it seemed to go on forever. In the morning, he learned that two boys had vanished near the tunnel. Their names were Vladimir and Vuk. Martin didn't tell anyone what he had seen the day before. He knew that the tunnel was to blame, that it had claimed another victim. Years passed, but the memory of the tunnel and the whispers about it never faded. For Martin, the tunnel became a symbol of fear and sadness. He avoided the village, choosing instead to live in the city. But the tunnel didn't care about Martin's fears. It continued to claim victims, and soon it took the life of an entire train. One summer evening, years later, Martin and his friends decided to climb the mountain behind the village. They reached the top, but on the way down, they saw a campfire in the forest. Curiosity got the better of them, and they decided to investigate. As they approached the fire, they saw three hooded figures standing around it. In the center was a woman with a bleeding wound and a crying child. The children hid behind a tree and watched in horror as the men performed a strange ritual, chanting in a language that sounded ancient and evil. One of the men raised a book and spoke. "Today we have brought you a sacrifice, a mother and her child. They will pay the price for the sins of humanity." The children gasped. This was no ordinary campfire. These men were not ordinary people. And as the night wore on, the children realized that they had stumbled upon something truly terrifying, something that would change their lives forever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a like and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, subscribe and join the family. Until next time, stay safe and keep an eye out for tunnels.